You got the press secretary there who has to field all of these questions from the left-wing media. Then they never pose to Joe Biden, but that's just the world we live in now. I want to bring in my inside track panelists here. We have Republican strategist Brielle Joy Applebaum, political commentator Grace Salvatore, and tax attorney and author Wealth Unbroken, Growing Wealth Uninterrupted by Market Crashes, Taxes, and Even Death. Rebecca Walsh, great to have you here. All right, we got to start with this. I mean, you got Caitlin Collins there. She's going right into the press corps. She's asking tough questions like she wants to do. She tries to get the soundbite. Watch this. The press secretary putting it down. Play it.
So we've covered the economy, but there's mixed signals in terms of what that looks like. But on
inflation is down from where it was.
Maybe it wasn't high under Biden. They're just saying it's not.
Well, nobody reported on it being high under Biden. My predecessor was standing at this podium, but now you want to ask me a lot of questions. Everything I'm telling you is the truth, backed by real factual data, and you just don't want to report on it because you want to push untrue narratives about the president.
So good.
Boom. Slow clap. That's exactly what we did not have under the Biden administration. You see, they will pose these questions about the economy, inflation, and they're hitting her hard on this. And she's like, wait a second, you guys never did this. I've been up here, inflation's coming down, the administration's got all things cooking, and they're trying to find something to get a soundbite out. Rebecca.
Yeah, absolutely, John. I mean, you know, you never heard that it was over 9% of inflation when Biden was in office.
Yes.
And yes, it has come down. You know, when you have a pandemic and you pump billions of dollars into the economy, both on the fiscal side and the monetary side, it's going to create inflation. And so obviously that has nothing to do with President Trump. I mean, it has nothing to do with any administration, really. It was a result of the pandemic and the global spending after the pandemic. However, this president is making massive strides, and even his tariff policy, bringing in, you know, trillions of dollars to the country that otherwise wouldn't have come in to actually help us with, you know, our trade deficit and everything else that's going on.
Brielle, I would probably argue, and the Trump administration could do a better job of messaging the economy. They've got a lot of wins. They do. I mean, look at Pennsylvania. He went on this little tour here, and he's trying to tout the economy. I mean, he brought out $100 billion of investment into the state of Pennsylvania, which is crazy. But yet, they'll attack him over everything.
Look, the president's administration doesn't have a problem with messaging. What they do have a problem with is the legacy media. American voters do not trust traditional legacy media anymore. They trust their pocketbooks. They trust their pennies, especially when they're counting them going to the grocery store every day.
Yeah. Grace, I would argue that they get caught up in a lot of this deflections.
Yeah.
I mean, to your point, the left-wing media brings up a lot of these storylines that they have to defend, and they spend most of their time trying to defend these, you know, the Secretary of War, rather than trying to explain to the American people how, come tax time, they're going to save money because of the big, beautiful bill.
Absolutely. You know, I think there's nothing in that soundbite that the American people don't actually already know.
Agreed.
I think what I love watching about Caroline Leavitt is her ability to work and take these people to task, specifically Caitlin Collins, and I would watch it any day of the week.
Watch this. So if you want advice on the economy, who are you going to go to? Maybe Jasmine Crockett, because now she's going to run for Senate, and she doesn't like her state. Let's play that soundbite. Watch this.
If the president cannot keep my name out of his mouth, then who is it that would be better to make sure that they are in the U.S. Senate to hold him accountable? I am the one that he is afraid of. I am the one that the Republicans fear. They can say that they don't, but my governor cannot stop tweeting about me.
You think President Trump was worried about Jasmine Crockett, and she runs for Senate? Rebecca, what do you think?
You know, the politicians having a higher opinion than themselves. So this goes back to the origin of time. But it does offend me massively that a politician would come on a national news program and literally say, if the president cannot keep my name out of his mouth. He is the president of the United States, and he has a right to call out anybody on anything that they're doing that is not correct. And I don't agree with her politics. And why do you want to represent the state of Texas if you don't even like the state? I think that should be a fundamental requirement. Patriot first, love the state, yes, yes first. Those are the first prerequisites. So I think you're disqualified.
We saw this with Afton Bain, right? In Tennessee, she hated her state and she lost.
Look, let me tell you what the president cares about. He cares about the 500,000 children in foster care. He doesn't care about one of 432 members of Congress right now. He cares about the Americans that are losing their health insurance right now. He's generating more revenue for America right now than any other president before in our history.
Right.
And he cares about human beings, not just one woman who thinks she's running for Senate in Texas.
I brought this up earlier this week. The Fed dropped the rate, right? Again, this is now what, the third time that Trump's got it in 10 months.
Yeah.
In 10 months. You know how many times Biden got the Fed rate dropped? In 4 years, 4 times. 4 times in 4 years. So give the guy a little bit of grace here. But this
is time too. It takes time. Give it some time to work through the system.
Exactly. Is this not their playbook, though? I mean, they're like, well, the grocery prices aren't coming down fast enough.
Right, 100%. Look, Jasmine Crockett is not Will Smith. Right? That's not a line that she can pull, in my humble opinion. So
I was thinking, I'm like, wait, I've heard this before. Will Smith, yeah.
Dems have not won a statewide election in Texas for over 30 years. This is not the sort of swagger that she's allowed to have in this state, in my opinion.
How does she think she's going to win without Trump voters? She doesn't want Trump voters. She's like, I don't need them.
How does she think she's going to win without Texas voters?
I don't need them.
Without Texas voters, without Republicans.
How is she going to do it? I don't get it.
Look, I think she's going to do it with a little bit of delusion and a lot of narcissism. That's what it takes to be a politician running as a Democrat in Texas right now.
Let's probably spend $1 billion on it, too.
Yeah, of course. Let's get to this, though. I mean, Trump is trying to fix up other Democrat cities' problems. Yeah. Look at Chicago. I mean, they got the transit system there. There's problems. He wants to go in and he's going to he's going to take away their federal funding if they don't clean it up. I like this idea. I mean, I live in New York City here. I'm on the subway. It's like a homeless shelter going on the subway. And why not? Why cannot these cities figure it out themselves? Why did the federal government, he shouldn't have to step in, I guess is my point.
I just want to say, we just had oral arguments recently at the Supreme Court talking exactly about this. Does the president have the right to overturn an administrative head? And in this case, we're talking about the FTC commissioner.
Yeah.
And, you had the liberal justices kind of saying, well, it can't be, a king. We didn't hire elected king. But another justice made the point, if the president of the United States, who's the chief executive, cannot displace another executive branch, then and this is an unelected person, by the way, where the president is the commander-in-chief and is elected, then what kind of banana republic do we have?
It makes
so we have to have that authority vested in the president, John.
Becca killed it, crushed it. Go ahead.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. There has been zero accountabilities with rising crime rates in Chicago for the past 3 decades. That is not a place where American businesses want to be. Look, I'm in Miami now. I can tell you that Ken Griffin's moved on down, and nearly every major financier and job creator is coming to Florida.
That's right.
It's a better place to do business than Chicago is.
Final thoughts.
Yeah, let's just run through the stats a little bit here, right? So fiscal year 2025, bus worker assaults in Chicago, 9 times the national average, right? Rail assaults have spent years above the national average. Rider attacks are up 150% over the last 5 years, and they are at 5 times the national average. And this conversation was catalyzed by a 26-year-old woman being burned alive on the Chicago subway system.
Fix it, right?
It shouldn't take this sort of a terrible event to see federal action.
I totally agree with you. And this is the problem. And they'll say, well, hey, stay out of our backyard, stay out of our neighborhood. What?
But you pay for it.
You're paying for it. This is your taxpayer. This is the public transit system there. We got to leave it there. Brielle, Grace, Rebecca, we got another round of this coming up here at 11 o'clock. So, all right, stay with us. Coming up next, President Trump says he is not backing down after the U.S. seized a Venezuelan oil tanker. Guess what they're calling him now? He's a pirate. He's a pirate all of a sudden. But Maduro, he's really sweating. Is he on his way out? And will he do it before the holidays? We're going to talk about that. Plus this, Patricia N., thank you so much for watching Newsmax. That is a live look from the Kashmir Indian cuisine. I'm sure it's a fantastic